Oh, you ruined the notes.
What's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the geek nation? You're currently tuning into the CultPop based on a novel of the same name by a mysterious writer podcast, episode 63. A show where we talk about movies, TV, comics, breaking news.
Oh.
Did you bring news?
I didn't. I forgot. I forgot the news.
You guys
broke some news on the way in.
that wasn't...
Yes.
Tell us about it.
I call my
That
gas
was
station.
news, right?
Anything I pass
comes
out
the
of
news.
me is news.
Yeah. No news is good news, right?
I mean, not so much for my gastrointestinal tract.
That's true.
That's a good
out
point.
than in.
I'm all
Better
about
out than in.
all good
down than out.
news. All good news all
Yeah.
the time.
All good news all the time.
That's what I call my bathroom time. Good news.
I do like how much we talk about your farts.
Well, I mean, look, I'm a varied individual. It's not just my farts. Sometimes it's my bowel movements. Sometimes it's
not a bowel move. Anyway,
I mean, you could fart.
Well, I mean, as
Listen.
bowels are moving,
A fart
they're released,
and-
never
Right.
mind. What else do we talk about?
we're talking about spycraft and to top off that list, all the other things that scratch your nerdy itch.
yeah, mine.
You're nerdy.
This is focused on JD.
I have a cream for it, but if you guys are gonna scratch, all the
Oh,
better.
wait. So I'm good news. You call it your nerdy itch?
My nerdy itch,
Yeah.
yeah.
I call everything down there nerdy.
You're nerdy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I itch it.
ready.
Nerdy's good. You're gonna scratch it?
Go.
All right. We're coming to you live from Young Chunk HQ. Young Chunk! It's a bomb-ass production space. Right? It's a bomb-ass podcast production space
It is the
in
bombest.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I'm your...
I'm sorry. The pause between Philadelphia, next slide, Pennsylvania.
That was
doing
a
great.
dramatic pause,
I see.
right?
Yeah.
because there are multiple Philadelphias.
There are.
How many are there,
That
Brian?
was
and it's also a biblical name.
Oh.
Yeah. It's...
Penn's Woods is a biblical.
that's... No, sorry, Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking Pennsylvania.
Yeah. That's probably not biblical unless there's a Bible yet to be written.
That's true.
Right. Anyway, I'm your whirly birding host, Brian Lieb, patron of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, which is a comic store, and they also have other stuff, and you run it. It's located at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a super rad comic shop which caters to nerdy and nerd-adjacent individuals. If you're near a nerd, this shop is for you.
Yeah.
And if you are any shape, any size, any gender... Is there anything you can't be and shop at this shop?
Racist.
Okay, yeah. You would prefer...
I would prefer.
What if they came in and then they changed their minds about things?
Oh,
They
sure.
got to know you
Yeah.
And they're
like, oh, you know
my
what? This
God,
guy's
Rob
all
was
right.
wrong about that
Yeah.
stuff. That would be great, actually.
also caters to anybody that is from the 12 places called Philadelphia in America.
There's 12
There are
Philadelphias?
12 different Philadelphias in America.
Whoa.
Holy cats.
Yeah, in Alabama, Arkansas, Illinois, Indiana, Mississippi, Missouri, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia.
I had no idea.
Wow.
Thank you, Internet.
There it is. It's a very common name, apparently.
Jesus,
and that's
yeah.
just within
Feel
the
less
borders
special
of
now,
the
don't you?
United
Yeah.
Don't you? Yeah.
I don't.
And they all have Eagles teams.
Yeah. Some of them are teams of actual eagles. They all do different things.
That's what I meant. Like
Yeah.
flocks of eagles that do feats of
Feeding
strength.
and feats of strength.
Yeah.
And did you ever see that Team America show? That movie where they're
Yes,
like a
I saw the
squadron
movie. Yeah.
that do stuff.
In my
Yeah.
head, you're an old man that just calls movies movie shows.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that Team America movie show?
Listen, it was a great picture.
It was a great picture.
I
Yeah.
caught
Early
it for a
aughts,
nickel.
I think it was.
Picture shows. Anyway, what are we doing today?
Anyway, with me tonight to talk is JD and Noel.
Hey, it's me.
We have to start now?
Yeah. Now we talk.
Yeah, I'm Noel.
Yeah.
Hi.
You were supposed to be
Yeah.
quiet until this point.
Oh, shit.
Hey.
Hey.
I would have preferred it, but in your, also in your booth.
To give notes.
Listen,
Also
Dylan.
in the booth
Dylan.
is our trusty producer, Dylan the Great. Remember?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about your booth.
Again? We talked about my booth last week.
I know. I wanted an
flawless.
update.
Yeah.
Can you update the booth? Do you have any new buttons?
No new buttons.
Switches?
No new
Levers?
I got some new different post-it notes from last week.
Do they say? And they say stuff that you're supposed to pay attention to now.
No,
What
later.
do they say then?
What do they say?
Yeah.
None of your business.
Oh,
Every week.
The post-it notes. That's very confrontational.
Yeah,
Who would write a
yeah.
note like that to you?
I think that every week, I would like to learn something new about your booth every week. So the first question this week is, For me, and if you guys want a different question, that's great. When you're sitting in your booth, what's your favorite liquid to drink?
Y'all know I'm a seltzer slut.
No, I didn't know that.
Are you a LaCroix boy or
LaCroix, yeah.
Are there
I like
names for that kind of thing?
LaCroix. I like
Seltzer slut, LaCroix boy.
Yeah.
Waterloo. Waterloo does a good seltzer.
Waterloo's like a good backdoor.
Yeah, they got them
seltzer.
on. They got them on Go Puff. So.
What's your favorite flavor?
Mango.
It's a follow-up question to the
Go
original
Puff.
question.
I like to
them on
stick
Go
with
Puff.
the citrus ones, like grapefruit, lemon, lime, orange.
Ooh,
Those are the
grapefruit's
good.
We'll remember that for next
Grapefruit.
week.
But
Ooh, not a fan.
Be
really, of
prepared. Next
grapefruit.
week, you're going to have another question as to like what do you like to do
all
in your
right.
booth.
I hope my booth is up to the task.
Well, it looks like a good, sturdy booth.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it can handle a little bit of pressure. Anyway, that concluded my flirting with Dylan.
Yeah.
I don't think it
What's
did.
next?
We'll see about this. In our upcoming segment,
Yeah.
what have you been up to this week? Huh?
That's the name of the segment?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What about it?
We're
You said
doing it.
in our upcoming segment, what you been up to this week, huh?
No, I said we'll find out if they're going to flirt more in our upcoming segment.
I say.
It was a segue, Eddie. Not the mode of transportation.
Got it.
But the narrative
live?
device.
Thank you.
Is this live?
Right? We're not broadcasting.
Anyway, what have you guys? What have you guys been up to this week? Huh?
Which one?
Both of us.
Answer as a set, but whoever speaks
At the
more
count of three.
loudly.
Let me make sure at the count of three. 1,
No, go.
2, 3.
Fargo.
Fargo. You too?
Oh my God!
No, I was reading
So,
yours.
I've been up to this week, huh? So because of True Detective season 4.
Icy murders. Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
What?
Icy murders.
Like in the ice, or you see them?
How do you hear it?
Icy
Both
murders.
ways. It's like one of those
so-
pictures that flips back and forth.
So there's a new season of True Detective, and it occurred to me that I really enjoy cold weather murder mysteries.
Icy murders.
no, you mentioned
Icy
that.
murders. So
You like to watch them.
Noel, this fella, was like, hey, you should check out Fargo season 2. And I was like, I love Fargo season 1. Did not watch Fargo season 2.
What
so
was that?
I actually did watch Fargo season 2, starring
Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson, Kirsten Dunst, a
I
bevy
saw her
of
once
other
getting
folks.
into a taxi
Oh.
in New York City. We were right there.
What's the redheaded guy?
Jesse Plemons.
Jesse Plemons is in it. Listen,
The guy from-
star-studded cast, absolutely wonderful second season. Weird. It gets a little weird at the end there.
It gets a little great at the end.
I was like, what the
So,
what just happened?
if anybody's seen the first season of Fargo, it's an anthology show, so each season is technically a different story. But season 1 and 2 are connected by a very specific thing, which is in season 1 they keep making references to something that happened in Tulsa, was it, or like
something like that.
so yeah, like, something that happened in a Midwestern town.
The Sioux City Massacre.
Yeah, there
or
you go.
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. They keep referring to it, and it's not really something that you ever get to know about. Just that the main character of Molly, her father was in the middle of it, right?
Yep.
In the second season, it's 30 years prior, and it's 1979, and it's the story of what leads Molly's father to this mystery, and it's bug nuts weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. And I
It's
love
so
it.
great. It's such a great season. If you guys like, first of all, if you haven't seen Fargo the movie,
I haven't seen it. Oh, the movie. I have seen it.
Oh, what a
I
gem!
think you would like the season. It's quirky, but like, it's actually just like the movie.
I liked the movie. And I, when the show first came on years ago, I was like, I might watch that show.
Yeah.
And I just never did.
It was
But,
first
yeah.
1 and 2 are both great.
Martin Freeman's in season 1, right?
Martin Freeman's amazing. I love him.
There you go.
Yeah, highly recommend Fargo seasons 1 and 2, specifically 2 though, just because I just watched it. How many seasons of Fargo have you watched?
2.5.
So while watching this season 2, I noticed all of the soundtrack, a lot of the needle drops are redos of songs from "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" for some reason. And my question to you would be like, I don't remember the season 1 soundtrack. Does each season follow a different Coen Brothers movie?
No, I don't think so.
You know,
You
soundtrack-wise.
recognized from songs played over the course of a season the soundtrack to a different movie.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because
impressive.
the soundtrack to "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" is very specific, has a very specific place in my life,
see.
and it involves a bunch of songs that I only know because I heard them on the soundtrack.
Gotcha.
And then I would be listening to the show, and I would be like, "Oh,
It's from that too.
That's from that scene in "Oh Brother," and then that's from "Oh Brother."
Aren't they pre-existing folk songs in "Oh Brother"?
Yes.
So it might just be the time and place. Like I did not. I don't think. Well, I mean, it
It's
was a
absolutely
choice.
choice. Yeah.
It was a choice,
Oh, okay.
but in 1979, 78, when the show takes place in that area, I don't know if it's that wild for folk music to be popular.
No, I wouldn't think so.
It felt very much like we are just referencing this. It doesn't matter if it takes place in the actual time period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, but anyway, I just thought maybe you would know.
No,
That's right.
no.
So, yeah.
As far as I know, there's no.
You like it?
Absolutely loved it.
That's awesome.
I'm back onto True Detective now because we skipped a couple of episodes as they dropped because we're like, let's just watch more Fargo. So yeah,
All right.
yeah, highly recommend.
True Detective drops as it happens. It's not an all at once kind of thing.
Yep,
That's
Drop,
interesting.
Yeah, weekly.
That's interesting.
There are still some shows that do that, streaming shows.
I prefer
Actually,
Right?
technically, True Detective's an HBO show, so if you still just have HBO,
You can
it's
still watch
only
it.
weekly.
Yeah, yeah.
So
There's
it's
something
not
to
gonna
be said.
streaming all in one clip.
Yeah, it's nice, right? Like, I love to binge something at times. It's also, I think you get more out of a show that you like talking about with the
If
once
it's
a week thing,
overtime.
right?
Yeah.
Because you talk about it for probably about the same amount of time, either once when you've watched all of it, if you happen to be around somebody that has also watched all of it, or sometimes like kind of, oh, which episode are you on? When I was there, it was this, you know. But the once a week, it's
in
cool.
good faith, I like to think that we've been doing this streaming thing for so long that just creatives, I guess, whatever, have at least some say as to, or at least some thought put into how things are released in streaming.
Yeah.
So if it is very much a serialized one chunk experience, they'll probably push to like it's going to be a drop.
Yeah.
Or if it's like something like Andor, they pushed for the first 3 episodes to be dropped at once because it was kind of like a one
I like
arc
that kind of thing,
and
especially
then they
if you
did
might
week
not get
after
into
week
it,
after that.
Yeah.
And then like I think The Boys did that too, where it's like a couple of episodes to like, well, it's one longer story that kind of wets your whistle and then chunks it out. Stranger Things season 5, literally 9 episodes or 8 episodes were dropped, and then 2 episodes a month or 2 months later.
Oh, I don't
Because-
remember. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
I
had
haven't watched Stranger
like
things in a few seasons.
season 5 was
I love
great,
that show.
Yeah.
but they
Still.
did it in 2 chunks to kind of like not only were the
Get a
last
little
2
bit more out of it
episodes-
for them.
Yeah,
also.
the last 2 episodes were
Right.
huge.
Right,
I think they were
right.
like 2 hours each. But yeah, it's like we're gonna
Yeah.
give you this much,
Right.
and then a cliffhanger, and then you have 2 months to kind of like
Well, it's fun to talk about and
deep in
wonder,
the
right?
ether. Yeah.
Which you get with a weekly show, and you're like, oh, I think this is going to happen. But once it's already all happened, you're not going to go back and
Yeah,
be
I
like,
think-
oh, I thought this was going to happen at this time.
Yeah.
I wonder if that could have been the case.
And I think the discourse sucks now too. You have people that literally will marathon a show at 2 a.m. when it drops on
I
the
know.
East Coast
Ugh, that part
to,
of
to
things.
be the first
Yeah.
person to spoil it
Yeah.
or talk about it for everyone else, and you're like,
No.
I haven't even woken up yet.
Yeah, right.
I'm not even awake
Right.
yet. And yeah, that's all over.
And then of course their thing is like, well, you should have watched it earlier.
or stay off the
It's
internet.
been out for those 8 episodes have been out for 8 hours. You should have.
Why don't you?
They're slightly under 1 hour each.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand the stay off the internet thing too, because it's like
Right.
it's
I'm trying to go on the
fucking
internet.
everywhere.
Right.
I'm just trying to be here on the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay off the internet.
But yeah, I do. I like the. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it. I think it depends on the show. But I do like that kind of like long journey. Yeah.
Why don't we have yet a filter for your phone that you can say like anything that says this,
Yeah.
don't show it to me.
Well,
Right?
they do, but it's not like good enough.
Yeah.
Wasn't it good enough?
Well, I'll
let's-
tell you why.
let's write
because,
Apple.
Because there are people.
Yeah, let's write Microsoft.
There are people who won't post a spoiler.
That'll be like a picture
They'll-
of it.
They'll post a screenshot, which is the spoiler.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want a sophisticated recognition algorithm as well.
Hey,
One
Dylan,
day.
do we have any chat, by the way?
Don't call attention to it.
Next. Oh, okay, it's cool.
Anyway,
Nobody-
JD, this will move along when I say it moves along, which is now. No. True Detective.
I wanted to watch True Detective season 4, but my wife has never seen season 1.
What?
So we were like, you want to give this a shot? So I put 1 episode on to get like a feel for it, because we typically like that kind of stuff, but she's hit or miss sometimes. And within 3 days, we watched all 8 episodes. It is, and I watched it in real time, but I never rewatched it, and I never really investigated it or kind of like paid too much attention. It was just like this good show, and like, oh, it's really good. Actors are being fantastic, awesome. The second time watching it, it was much more intent, and it's kind of a masterpiece.
It's great.
Like,
I've heard really good
it's
things.
Yeah. You're continuing to.
the
Yeah.
story is just so intricate, and it's honestly, it's just like actors being fantastic.
Yeah.
He is Matthew McConaughey is just stupid good in this show. Even and Woody Harrelson I've never seen better.
Oh,
And it was the first time I ever
always
saw
very good.
Alexandra Daddario.
Yeah,
Is that right?
She's got like a mini 2-episode arc, but
But like she,
yeah,
how much? What are we talking?
boobies. the
babies.
Yeah.
Because Woody Harrelson can't keep it in
her
his
skin
pants.
That's true.
But it's an amazing show, and I think we're just gonna skip to season 4 now.
I found
Because 2 I didn't like.
Looking back at that show, I react more to. I remember more about the acting than the plot. It's just I remember Woody Harrelson being great, Matthew McConaughey being amazing, and then like there's a kind of a bug nuts crazy finale, but I don't remember much in the middle as far as like the plot of the show goes. That's not really what's important to me.
There was a lot of things that I missed the first time. I was paying more attention to these actors doing awesome, and I wasn't paying attention to the very thick plot that was happening.
Yeah.
So like there's a side plot of Rust Cole, the McConaughey's character, had just come off of like 4 years of undercover where he did a shit ton of drugs and 3 years of embedded something else before that. So it's not only PTSD he's dealing with, he's also dealing with acid trips and flashbacks. So there are scenes where he sees things and you see what he sees, but they are not fucking real.
Right.
And they see this out through the whole show. So I remembered the detail, but I didn't remember how it much affects the plot so much because there's a scene at the very, very end. Because I remember I think I watched it originally like 2 episodes late and then went back and double, because everyone was talking about it like 3 or 4 weeks in. So then and 10 years ago, it was like HBO Now or just HBO Go, or you actually had to have HBO to watch it. But there's a very, very important scene at the very end where he's having a vision in the middle of a moment where you should be more attentive.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the show and thinking like, that's fucking weird that happened, not remembering the whole context. And then because of all of those visions, there was a lot of people that supposed or thought that the big bad or the big reveal was going to be supernatural.
Yeah.
No. Nothing about actually watching the show in real time. Nothing about it suggests that there is any kind of supernatural element. Just shit you don't know.
Yeah.
And he is also tripping balls on random occasions that he can't control because he did so much acid and heroin.
And let's have those great interrogation scenes sprinkled throughout. It's just so much fun to watch.
Okay, it's not a spoiler, but there's one scene that just devastated us. He later in his career, because it spans like almost 20 years for these characters.
Yeah.
So later in his career, when he's a lot more angry and a lot less like together, he gets a confession out of a woman that Munchausen by proxy. She was responsible for the death of 3 of her own children. And she was a drug addict, and he got the confession out of her, and everyone leaves, and he's just kind of talking to her real quietly, and he's just like, the press is going to destroy you. And it's very calm and caring that he's telling her this. He's like, the press is going to destroy you. You're probably going to be sent to this prison. They don't take kindly to people that hurt kids there. Whenever you have the chance, I would probably try and kill yourself.
Oh, wow.
And then just walks out of the room, and he was dead serious. And you're like, that's fucking hard.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of show it is where it's just like,
It's not a feel good romp.
It's so incredibly raw.
I've heard they have a lot of interesting philosophical
very much.
conversations.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it drives Woody Harrelson nuts.
He doesn't care for it.
He hates it.
All the philosophy. He
hates
doesn't like
it.
it.
That's actually a really good scene
Part of
too,
the
where they're
fun.
just like outside of like they're sitting at their car, and he's just like, "Don't fucking talk.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about.
Can you just be
I don't-
normal for
I don't
a
want to hear
second?
about the fear
why
you
would you
can
want that?
smell or
it's
just don't
so
fucking
good.
talk."
Yeah, they're such a good pairing.
It's a wonderful show.
Yeah.
It really is.
Hey, Robert Monroe Jr.'s in the chat. What's up, Cold Poppers? He says, well, this is what's up. We're going to be talking about something very cool, Argylle. But
BL.
you know that already.
BL. Brian.
Hey, what's
Brian
up?
Lee. Brian Dog.
Hey,
B-Dog.
Brian.
Hey,
What's
Hey, Brian.
you guys
what-
have a question for me?
Is there anything that you have been under or over this past week that we. I mean, you could if you want to.
There was
Well, no, I mean you could totally. Wait,
Are we gonna have the same
did you have a question? I mean, it could be the same question. I'm gonna go.
guys.
Oh, you know what? You ask a question first, and then I'll
We'll
answer
do it
my
at the same
question.
time. Count
Okay,
1, 2, 3,
one,
but
two,
it's 1,
three.
2, 3.
Listen, I
Go.
must-
Okay,
Not,
one,
not
two,
on
three.
three.
I must interrupt
So,
you. I have something to say.
Oh, okay. What?
I have been up to this week. Something, huh?
That's not what I was going to ask.
Yes.
That wasn't my question, but whatever.
I don't. I could not hold it in anymore.
Yeah.
Because I don't care what your question was now. I did in the beginning,
Yeah.
and I was like, I was up to something this week.
I gotta tell these guys.
I just
they
realized
gotta
it's weird.
know.
I want some.
They gotta know. And
Robert-
Robert Monroe Jr. says heroin and LSD is a horrible combination.
I've never
And
done either.
I think it's in the ratios, right? Probably.
Robert, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
You gotta
You get a
really
little
make
of this,
sure.
try
Yeah.
a little of that.
Yeah.
Add it in touch of that.
It's very pragmatic of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not the drugs so much as
Right.
how you use them and in what measure.
Gotta get it right. So let me know
What you
next
been up to
week.
this week, huh?
When you have. So I was watching an animated program called
Butts.
Grimsburg with John Hamm.
Oh.
And he's on the show. And there were some other folks whom I now do not recall. Alan Tudyk is.
I love Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, so it is the funniest first episode of a show, like the most genuine, like, oh, that was really funny, of a comedy show that I've seen in a little while.
What would be like a version of that wasn't really authentic, though?
That
I
wasn't.
thought that was really funny, but like inauthentic.
Oh, if I was like,
And would it be really funny?
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It just had a solid quality to it, right? I guess there's no inauthentic humor.
I'm perplexed by that question.
Yeah.
What would I think inauthentic humor just wouldn't be humorous.
Right.
Yeah.
If I found it.
So authentic humor or authentically funny is just a modifier or an adverb for funny. Like it was
it's like an
so funny.
intensive-
If it was so
like
funny,
a
it felt
qualifier.
real. Like it was a real funny, not a
Yeah.
broad funny.
He had said something akin to like, oh, you sit back and you genuinely go, oh, that was really funny, as opposed to being inauthentic about how funny it was.
So you'd be a fake. It's not really funny and you're fake about it.
Yeah.
That would be
And
inauthentic.
nobody was there. Why was I doing it?
You are a fan of the bit, whether or not someone's there.
Yes, I am.
I imagine
Actually.
you're just doing this even when we're not here.
You guys wouldn't know that for sure.
Yeah.
But yes.
But I think we do know that for sure.
Yeah.
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 Now, what's better, authentic or organic? Authentically funny versus organically funny.
Organic, I guess.
I think organically funny is better too.
Yeah. That stuff's tight. When it's So anyway, John Hamm's in this. Alan Tudyk.
It's animated, by the way.
Woman who
say
plays
that?
his ex-wife. It
Okay,
is
cool.
animated. The woman who plays his ex-wife is someone quite famous, whom we all know, and I do not currently remember. If somebody wants
Taylor
to check
Swift.
that out. No. Now you have another.
I got it.
I don't know, several million people that you could name.
Gina Davis.
That woman, I believe.
Samuel Jackson.
Gina Davis
Oh,
is
I
a
thought you said
woman.
Jim Davis.
No.
who
Oh,
I guess
Jim
is
Davis,
the
creator of Garfield. Voices the wife.
Could do it.
He's finally getting his turn.
So anyway,
It's a comedy.
It's a comedy. The idea of the show is there's this. I think he's been fired or suspended police detective. He's been living separated from his ex-wife, who was raised by bears. Living in this hotel for the last several years, I think.
Oh, geez.
In right outside of Grimsburg, the cursed murder town,
Oh.
right? So, and it's a zany sort of comedy, not true to life things happen.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And
More
sometimes,
cartoony things.
yes, as would be in a cartoon.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
you just couldn't have in the real world that I've seen so far.
Ah.
So maybe you could.
That's true.
I don't know. But
Who's his wife? Stand flute or harmony flute?
Harmony.
Aaron Hayes.
Who's that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Anyway, there's some other people in it.
Yeah.
But Alan Tudyk plays his mentor, 7th grade science teacher, who he had to, as career as a police officer, put away for some horrific crime.
Oh.
Who they have let out because there's a shortage of teachers. So he wears an ankle monitor and teaches 7th grade science.
Okay.
And I think there's only been one episode that I've seen so far, and John Hamm goes to him, and it's one of those sinister advice.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
you better than you know yourself kind of things. Is Alan
Hilarious.
Tudyk. He's always
Yeah.
great. Yeah. He does it in a German accent.
Oh, of course.
And
I feel like that's his real accent. And he's been doing
the other one
American the
for a
whole
while.
time.
Yeah.
Because he's always evil German.
Yeah. Doom Patrol.
That's enough for
got
me.
a couple
That's
other
okay.
things.
That's all you need.
That's enough. That's
It's so
always.
good.
That's
So,
always.
uh,
also,
how many-
he did it in Moana.
Okay.
He was a chicken.
It was a
A
German
German chicken.
It was an evil German chicken. Prove me wrong.
Yeah. They have
Wrong.
chickens in Germany,
Wrong.
probably.
So where's this streaming?
That's on Hulu. If you want to watch it and you have Hulu,
I may.
I think
you
it's
can watch
actually
it.
on Fox too. Like it's literally on
maybe.
TV.
It seems like it.
It's not a streaming only show.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their animation stuff, which I think is still going strong on the network. But yeah, very funny. There's only been one episode. Within the first, half of the first section, I laughed, and I was very surprised that and I guess that's what I meant by authentic. is that
Authentic.
Right.
That's it right there.
I was just watching it, and I was like, ha! I didn't see a joke coming at all.
I've heard of laughter.
Yeah. So it's like,
I've never really seen it happen.
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, he lives his life in darkness. Have you not met this boy?
Oh, that's true. He sees it, but he doesn't
Yeah.
see it.
Every time you've seen him enjoy himself, it's a facsimile of life that he's witnessed from others.
You're still doing that, right? Right now?
Yeah.
You're not doing a great job.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't look like you're enjoying yourself at all.
You know what? I do feel like, that's the play. Yeah, he's,
Oh, it's such a layered game.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Without a prompt, he just diverts to, I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm just a little guy. It's my birthday.
It's nice. I bought that yesterday. So also his son, whom he neglects, has an invisible friend who is this skull-headed flaming demon.
Oh, I love him.
And I'm assuming he's not an invisible friend, right? But yeah, I think that rounds out. The mayor is involved, and I think he's famous too. It's a good show.
Nice.
Yeah, check it out.
Okay.
All right.
We did
so, listen, that was that. And this is what's next.
I'm applauding.
That was cool. That was really cool.
Be poetry.
See, when I was in, was it grade school, middle school? Like we weren't allowed to clap. We had to
What?
2 fingers.
Why?
Were you hexing people?
It sounds like,
Did you go to a Catholic school?
yeah, it sounds like doing it faster will make you blind.
Oh, that's what we did when we needed to applaud in grade school or middle school, I think. And
just
we
flat.
would just,
wait.
and we weren't supposed to.
Real story. I'm not gonna yes and jerking off. Real story.
You don't have
Jerking
to.
off, yeah.
Yeah. The joke.
I mean,
is
it was
the jerking.
me. I was the child.
In high school theater,
Yes.
my crazy teacher didn't like applause because it could measure good and bad, and everyone wanted to be a level playing field. So
Sure.
it was
you are when you
everyone
start
gets
doing something.
accolades.
Maybe
So
not.
you count to 3, 1 clap.
Huh.
So after everyone did anything, it was 1, 2, 3. That's it. That was how everyone just got recognized.
weird.
It was really weird.
Did you find yourself programmed to commit certain criminal acts?
If I say Omega cheesesteak Bonnaroo, clap. Yeah. Will you assassinate someone?
Omega cheesesteak Bonner?
That was I really liked when you suggested those 3 code words years ago. I was like, you nailed it, man. Those are great.
Great
Yeah,
code
yeah.
word.
Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. So
What are we talking about? What's our
that's
main
a
topic?
pretty-
tonight?
topic.
Main topic. Main topic. Main topic.
Oh, you guys are in luck because I got a lot of it.
Do you like it when we slam the desk?
Right, that's good for the mics.
Yeah.
Good for the mics. You got to do stuff that's good for the mics, and
JDs.
it's good for the jiggies.
The JDs.
The mics,
as
the
well
JDs.
as the Michaels. Yeah.
What's good for the jiggies?
What's a jig?
Almost anything.
Yeah.
I feel like getting jiggy with it. It's everything.
Yeah. What's good for the jiggy is getting jiggy with
What's
it.
good for the jiggy is good for the John.
It's good for the.
Oh, I like that. JD,
good for the
t-shirt
jiggies?
idea.
It's good for the John.
Yes. Maybe we'll see that t-shirt,
Yeah.
which you draw and make sometimes.
true.
And
Where can
then-
you get those shirts?
At Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex.
Located
27 Main Street.
27 Main Street.
But if you are somewhere else,
This is
you
off
could
the rails and I love it.
mail them.
That's true.
Right?
That's
You
true.
mail stuff out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You know
check
what
it out,
else
you
is off,
guys.
other than this show? You know what else is off the rails? Argylle as a movie. Why don't we talk about it?
Argylle.
I'll tell you what,
We
you
saw
guys.
that.
We talked about some spy stuff earlier.
Yeah.
Knowles conditioning programming. And that would have led us right into our main topic, Argylle.
Had we segued,
Yeah.
not to transportation.
Chanting about
Yeah.
main topics.
Yeah.
Anyway, Argylle.
Main
I'm not talking
topic.
about the pattern, although that does feature in this movie.
When I was younger, I called it gurgle.
Gurgle.
Not even joking. I just couldn't get my mouth around Argylle, but I liked it. Gurgle.
Oh,
cool.
you know what? My son,
Yeah.
he sees M&Ms and he says da-ah,
Da.
da-ah. And that's what he wants. That's supposed to be M&Ms.
Interesting.
I'm still trying to figure out what he means.
Da. Is it something that
Dad,
you eat?
Dad, that.
Yeah.
Dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray
Yeah.
said, I want da-at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But does
Anyway.
he see you eating them a lot?
Not a lot. I try not to eat them in front of him.
That's cool.
He's
That's
probably
cool.
watching
What do
now
you do?
going-
Like an enema?
Yeah.
Yeah, suppository.
I hide in the corner and eat. Like, I eat
Every
in
so often
shame
you
away
hear-
from my child.
Yeah.
Is that thing going out or coming up?
Going up.
Argylle.
The movie is based, I found out a little bit afterwards, on this mysterious book. We'll get into that later. It's about a reclusive author, Elly Conway. So I saw this movie yesterday.
Yeah.
She writes best-selling espionage novels about a secret agent named Argylle who's on a mission to unravel a global spy syndicate.
It's my dinner.
And you might think that that was it. However, when the plots of her book start to mirror the covert actions of a real-life spy organization, the line between fiction and reality begin to blur.
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, they
like it was
continue to
very
blur
hard.
throughout the film, directed by Matthew Vaughn. It's written by Jason Fuchs. It's based on a novel by
Did not know that.
Elly Conway, who may or may not be any number of people, apparently,
Hold on a
including
second.
Matthew Vaughn. That's right. The main character's name is the same name as the woman who wrote this book, which is the unreleased fourth book in a series, the first of which was released, and only, I believe, the first, a few days before the movie came out.
So in 20, starring Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Rockwell, Henry Cavill, Bryan Cranston, Catherine O'Hara, everybody's
cast
in
is
this
fucking
goddamn.
amazing.
Yeah.
They were very good.
In 2021, it was announced that that Marv Pictures, which is Matthew Vaughn's production company, acquired the rights to this unreleased book, like this unpublished book called Argylle, and Apple Films is going to finance it.
Yeah.
That's it, because he wanted to. We'll get into spoilers later.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, thank you, Noel. We're going to talk about our overall feelings on the film without spoiling it, because I think there's a lot of spoilers to be had for this movie.
I would say so.
And if you're interested in this movie, I highly recommend you don't stick around for the spoiler section of the show, but we will let you know when we're going to get into spoilers. Just wanted you to know.
Anyway, so they acquired the rights to this book, written by Elly Conway, called Argylle. Great. About a year passes, a year and change pass, and you find out that the plot of the movie is about an author named Elly Conway, and the book that she's writing is happening. So that became all the conspiracy theories of who the hell is Elly Conway? This is their very first book that's ever been published. It's probably not real, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and there's like no information public
and of
about
course,
this person.
And of course, there's no public information about this person. They've not published anything else before. They have no like professional footprint. It's just the first book was blah. If you believe one line of rationale, they literally are a nobody, lucked out. And the one interview that I found of Elly Conway's, she is saying that, hey, her social media. Matthew Vaughn told her that she needs to post social media.
Hard to fake.
Yeah, right. She's an introvert, doesn't actually want the attention. And of course, this is weird as hell. Cute.
They had to rip the novel from her gripping hands.
Yeah. She didn't mean to publish it.
And then other people are like, well, it's probably written by Taylor Swift because she
People
could have
did say
written
that.
here and here. And like there was a bunch of conspiracy theories in fun ways about like who actually is Elly Conway. I believe
Matthew Vaughn debunked the Taylor Swift one.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what he would do if he wanted to debunk something.
He would debunk it.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, are there novels
So there is one novel,
in existence that I could pick up and read?
but it is not this story. This is based on the fourth novel in the series. The unreleased. So the three
Interesting.
happened.
It sounds
Yeah.
like Century.
It sounds
It does
like bullshit.
sound like that. Or the Orson Welles Batman thing. You guys remember that one?
No.
There was some myth.
Century.
The Century, where it's like, this was a thing that really happened, but it's not. It's just like fake.
Right, like Stan Lee's Superman
Fake
type
in
character
universe
that he
stuff.
was going to introduce. Because you remember when the Century first came out?
I don't know if that. I don't agree with that comp. But
yeah.
what?
There was a myth at one time put out, and I forget what the origin, if it was like a genuine thing that people were just having fun, or if it was intended to fool people, that Orson Welles was going to make a Batman movie, that he found this like great psychological passion in it, you know. And I forget what they were, but various castings of like, well, this person was going to be this. I don't think there was like star-studded, but some studs.
I think it's just a fake book that they reverse engineered from this long form story they want to tell.
I think
That's it.
That's
Like,
what I mean.
yeah.
But that's in universe for the Century. That's why I'm like, what do you mean?
No,
like
when the Century first came out, they put out a media thing. Like they did interviews and stuff that were like, and they were maybe always tongue-in-cheek about it, but didn't say, you know, they were like, this is something we found of Stan Lee's that he never did.
It was like in the drawer. It never got published. They had all of this stuff.
Yeah.
All the
I didn't know.
Here's all the sketches and the notes and everything.
I didn't know that. I thought you were just talking about like in the Marvel universe, they made them all forget.
No, I mean,
that
it's
thing
like-
that.
It's for the sake of not propaganda. Publicity.
Oh, I didn't know
It's
that.
like there's this like fake.
Yeah, yeah.
fake
I didn't know
thing,
that at all. I
this
was
fake
like,
story.
I was like, I don't know if that.
Stan Lee may have
I don't know if
even
that applies.
gone
That
along
doesn't
with
make
it.
sense
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
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 Well, no, sorry, I didn't know. I was like, I don't think that.
Yeah, it's funny. People.
I think you're stupid. I don't know.
Century's one of those characters where the
Is that the sociopath faking?
Am I-
sad?
do I look sad?
You're faking sad. It's
Sad?
great.
yeah, kind of. Now you
No,
look
I didn't know
like
that.
saucy.
You know what? Yeah, then yeah. But like,
Cheer me up,
take
why
it,
don't you?
take it one step further and like, oh, we're the MCU is making a movie about the Century and there's no publications for it, but they're like, oh, there's actually 4 volumes you never saw.
Right. We're doing
and
volume
we're
4.
actually releasing them all with the movies. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
So anyway, you guys.
Elly Conway,
Hi,
greatest writer of our generation. Go.
In this universe, perhaps. And what I want to know is, don't get too into it.
Okay.
What were your general thoughts?
Me. I'll go. So my general. I'm gonna backtrack. I'm gonna say how I went into this movie.
Okay. Face first.
I went into this movie
yeah.
With gloves on.
against my will.
It's weird.
I had to rally to go see this movie. I saw the trailer and I went,
How many thousand times did you see the trailer?
1,000.
Because it literally is in front of like every movie in the last like 3
oh
months.
no! I've
There's
only
jokes
seen,
online
I saw
about
like maybe
how
once or twice.
there's jokes online about how like thank God this movie's out now. It won't be in front of every fucking movie.
that's
I go
funny.
see.
No, I haven't
Yeah.
noticed that in there.
No, I saw like
Yeah.
maybe once or twice, and that was like on my Apple TV. I think maybe.
Did you? It's financed by Apple Films.
Yeah.
So I've heard. Did you only see it because we are reviewing it for this podcast?
I pushed
Yes.
him a little.
Okay.
Yes, we
Yeah,
decided to do it for the podcast.
Yeah.
But even at the night I had to go see it, I was like, all right, there's a 6:30 or not 9:30, whatever it
6:20.
was.
It was
I believe
9:30,
it
yeah,
was.
It was 9:30, and I was
Right.
like on the couch, and I was with my wife and my son, and I was
could
very
be better?
very happy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta go. Can I maybe
Fucking
maybe I can go tomorrow instead? How can I push
Always
this
put
off?
off till tomorrow. when
Yeah,
you don't
so
feel
I
like
got
getting
I
it.
got a text that night at like 9:42.
Uh-huh.
Hey, no,
Yeah.
how many previews were there?
Yeah.
Huh.
And I was like, I don't know, like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So you think would I miss?
Yeah.
Like I could literally
you
hear
get
you
that?
you might
sighing in the text.
in the text message. Like it was even like, all right, see, I'm gonna miss this much movie. Does it matter?
Not even.
And I literally told like if you
Yeah.
walk in during this scene, you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Like, all right.
What? Did you miss any of the movie?
Just a couple of minutes. I wound up going and I had my popcorn and my refillable. I love that shit. And my peanut M&Ms, peanut butter M&Ms.
Were these the ones?
No, I didn't.
I was gonna say if
I
these
blow
are,
through these.
if these are 3 days old, throw them against the wall. That's disgusting.
3-day-old M&Ms?
No, they must be fresh.
So
I look for born on
Yeah.
dates.
Love
Yeah.
the smell of fresh M&Ms coming out of the open bag.
I'm gonna
but
breathe it in.
then I went and sat and I watched the movie,
And
and
then-
against my will, kicking and screaming,
Right.
I found myself smiling and
Really?
laughing and just kind of having a blast.
Huh.
Now, I want to say that the movie, I don't think the movie is good.
Okay.
I do think that the movie is fun. And I
Okay.
think the movie knows exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's only trying to be fun. I don't think it's really trying to be good. I think it's just trying to be a popcorn spy comedy. And I think it hits those marks. And it even goes so far as, what I want to say is it took things as far as I would want them to take them.
And no
I
fun.
was surprised at how far they took them.
Matthew
I-
Vaughn has a habit of taking things usually 2 steps too far.
yeah.
See that.
And this movie was lacking the leery creepiness of Matthew Vaughn.
Of some of his previous works, yes, for 100%.
Any other things of his? Because I have this
like the
impression that he's
Kingsman.
good. Didn't see it.
Both Kingsman movies are creepy.
He's in one of the X-Men movies.
He did First Class, which was great.
It was awesome. Okay.
Mostly.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I just found myself
Stardust.
against
Great.
my will, really kind of enjoying it.
Really? Okay.
And there was
People
actually
were holding you down.
No, the movie tied him down. It's metaphoric.
Yeah. So
The movie tied him down to his
Okay.
seat.
So what were those guys doing?
I lost my track.
That wasn't it?
Against your will, you found it enjoyable.
Yeah, I was having a blast. And there are sequences that I would start off and I would kind of be like, oh, geez, this is what they're doing. But then by the end of that very same sequence, I would be laughing and having a blast. So, yeah, it was a very weird experience for me.
Huh.
I had a similar experience.
Okay.
In so much as I kind of knew the tone going in. It was going to be like a spoof-ish of spy tropes. The first sequence I thought was laughably bad.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even fun bad. It was just, when is this ending?
Like it must have been intentional. What's going on here?
But like intentional is
Yes.
winky. This was like, it lasted too long and it wasn't even
Like
funny.
they thought they were winking, but it was just a
You were just blinking a lot.
Right.
I was gonna
Like,
say,
in an intense
like the difference
way.
between like a slick wink and just like a
Right.
get it.
Yeah.
I hated it. And then the next scene after that was it's revealed that she's reading excerpts from her book.
Right.
And there's a couple of people ask her questions. The questions they ask, like in the audience, are so stupid that I literally thought to myself, this movie thinks I'm a fucking moron.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
Yeah.
I like it. It made me upset. I was like, this movie thinks I'm stupid. It either thinks I'm stupid or it thinks it's stupid. Because the nature of the questions, which I can't talk about because it would be spoilers.
Yeah.
Were just so fucking on the nose. I rolled my eyes behind my head. They came back underneath.
Yeah.
But then about 15 minutes later, Sam Rockwell shows up.
Yeah.
They
helped
get
a lot.
They get a little bit more playful.
Yes.
She, as a character, Elly Conway as a character, Bryce Dallas Howard, has more agency in the story, and it just becomes fun.
Yeah.
And then before I know it, the movie itself escalates to a point where now it's just playful, cartoonish.
Yeah.
And it's not talking down to me and telling me I'm stupid anymore. It's just having fun. But that whole first act was really fucking rough, and I almost like wrote the movie off.
I see that.
But then it won me. Yeah, like so like by the time the last act with very weird
Set pieces.
Yes.
but they just worked for me. I was just like, any other movie, this would be. It was stupid. It was just charming. It was all just charming.
It felt like everyone there was having a blast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they seem to
agree.
be
I
enjoying
agree.
themselves.
What is? Did you feel differently?
So I had went into it in a kind of similar experience, but I was like, all right, Argylle, I've heard nothing but bad things, but it kind of looks,
I mean, ditto. Like I heard nothing but bad things.
Yeah, and I've heard
trailer's
about
terrible.
his hair, and the first time we saw his hair, I was like, yeah, I know. I
His
see what
hair
you're
is
talking
not
about.
nearly as bad as his coat.
The coat is weird as well. And then I'm like, something's got to be going on, right? Like we're watching this thing, and I'm like, this is so much of the thing that it's trying to be.
Yeah.
Something must be happening. He's riding over the roof, unimpeded. You know what I mean?
I thought that was all just digital recreations, like on the volume.
What?
Grease in the first sequence because it looked so fake.
Huh.
They went out and shot.
They drove
Stuff
over
in
roofs?
Greece.
Oh, that's really what I thought you meant. I got you.
I'm talking about the location.
Oh, okay.
It was real, but it looked so incredibly fake because
Oh,
just
yeah.
the aesthetic
The
of that
CG was
whole
so
thing
Yeah.
was so bad.
It's very cartoon. I mean, he's wearing a velvet green Nehru suit, right?
I like it. That whole opening sequence on paper probably sounded like a wonderful cartoon that kind of like eases you into the tone, but it was just it was so lifeless. It
You know
was so
what was
humorless.
happening, and which I felt was the case through a lot of the movie. You're like,
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
what is happening here? What type of movie
Yeah.
are we going for?
Yeah.
Right? And then I can either enjoy it or not based on what that is. And it's like, maybe it's not necessary that I enjoy it and what it's going for, but just it would help a lot to know what you're getting at so that because some things, if you're doing them on purpose, I'm in.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you're
yeah.
not, it's like, I don't know about that. Right?
Yeah, a movie needs to welcome you into what level it's at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
exactly.
there needs to be like a baseline understanding between audience and
right. What type of story
presenting.
are we here in?
Yeah,
This is
you can scare me, you could shock me, you could surprise me, but I need to at least share a baseline with you, movie.
Right.
And the first 20 minutes, it didn't fucking exist. For me.
Yeah. And I felt there was something that comes up multiple times throughout the film, and by the end of it, I was like, another one,
Yeah.
right? And then another one, and then a few more, and I had, I guess, kind of a similar experience. There were moments. So in the opening thing, John Cena's character is like about to drink his coffee. He's poised, right? And he's like, I'm gonna take care of this thing. She's riding in on the motorcycle. And I laughed aloud when he grabbed her from the back of the motorcycle. It was great,
That
right?
was cartoon.
Yeah. And this does continue our 2-week block of Richard E. Grant featuring movies.
Oh.
Yes.
I mean, is he featured in this?
He's
I think he like
for a time.
had an afternoon on the set.
Yeah. And they were like, well, he won't get out of the shot, so
Yeah, might as well.
take whatever he said and build a movie.
Yeah,
around
like,
it.
hey, excuse me, we built this set and Richard E. Grant is sitting here. I'll just give him lines.
Just
give
build
him
it
lines.
around them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really thought he was going to be in more of it. I thought we were going to see more of that. So yeah, overall, I was like, there's something else that happens at the end, speaking of what kind of movie it is, that I was like, in a different movie, that thing or two would have been pretty cool, maybe. Where is it coming from here? Right? And I was not into that.
Oh, okay.
Even though I thought the thing itself was cool and well done.
can't
was
wait to
like,
get the
why is
spoilers.
this happening?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, I think you
Well,
do.
The movie itself does take a lot of like huge swings, and they are, for me, some of them were successful, some of them I rolled my eyes.
Yeah.
but
Like those ones in the cartoons where they swing and then they spin around a few times and there's lines going around them. It was a lot like that.
Yeah.
Watching this movie. So
it was
overall,
whiplashy.
about 25 minutes before the end of the movie, I was like, you don't want to pull out your phone because it's light and the
Yeah.
screen. I don't like to do that, and I don't like it when it's done. So I really wanted to know what time it was. And how much more of this movie I had. And it turned out it was a bit. And
Yeah.
I was like, you seem to be wrapping everything up.
You had
Oh.
mentioned it should have been like 20 minutes shorter.
That was the one thing I forgot to mention just now. Was
Yeah.
like, it
All right.
20 minutes
Yeah.
cut off. There's a scene where something is happening, the countdown of sorts is happening, and then the other person on the receiving end, it gets paused, and he goes, God damn it.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah.
And then the
I'm with
action
you.
pauses again.
Yeah.
And it's like
I
another
was like,
one.
I feel the same way, character. Like, we're still going?
Yeah.
The finale, I think the movie itself too is backloaded. There's a couple of really fun, competent action sequences throughout the movie sprinkled in, but the whole movie is like backloaded with like 4 set pieces back to back, and it does feel like an incongruous experience. Like all of this like huge, weird, playful shit at the end after sitting through so much kind of like pause and
a world-
and also too, all of it was obvious. So it's like the movie was kind of talking down to me in some pieces where it's just like, yeah, I know that part.
And then the one
I know
thing
that
that they
part.
set
Just
up
come on.
as I think like a big this type of story twist, I was like, the second they hinted at it, I was like, that's what's gonna happen.
Oh.
And then it happened.
Can we get the spoilers?
And there is oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
Oh, yeah, we got 12 minutes. We're good.
so the illusion is dropped. Let's do it.
We're going to get the spoilers.
We're getting into spoilers
Right now.
And man, the spoilers are happening. You've had enough time. There were so many twists in this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys, this was what I was talking about earlier when I said there's so many of this kind of thing. And then
Oh,
by
I
the
thought you
end-
meant like a joke, the whirly bird.
Oh,
like
no, there
they
were
do
only
that,
2
like,
of those,
there's-
which I was
there's-
like, oh, there were 3, you're right. And I was like,
No,
oh,
there's 4.
we'll get into
4.
that soon.
I was gonna
There's
say
4 whirly
There's
birds,
4
baby.
Whirly birds. It's a lot. It's a lot for anyone. Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to punch the movie in the face in that press conference, not the press conference, the book
Book tour.
tour.
In the beginning or the end?
Yeah, in the beginning.
In the beginning.
Where it's like, you write spies so well. These other authors were spies.
Yeah.
Are you a spy?
Yeah.
And I wanted to punch the movie in the fucking face. I'm like, yes, I know she's Agent Argylle because you just told me she's Agent Argylle. Let's move on.
I didn't know
like
she was.
Oh, you
Agent
did?
Argylle.
No, I didn't know that either.
the
I was
context,
like-
when it's revealed that she's
Yeah.
our
Kyle.
I was like, oh, that's kind of
No, and then
no idea.
so they
Oh yeah.
so they create and I told you, I was mentioning this too, like they create this kind of like visual paradigm of every time she's coping with seeing Sam Rockwell do stuff by constantly seeing it interspersed with Henry Cavill doing the same thing, which is cool for a couple times. But then they keep doing it. I'm just like, look, I just want to see Sam Rockwell.
Right.
I don't give a shit about this.
And you don't know what's going on for too long of like,
Yes.
Is some kind of prediction thing happening? Is she tuned into what's really happening? Is she creating
But then
it?
the
What's
movie
happening?
breaks its own rules, and she starts to see Argylle as herself. She
That's
starts
not breaking the rules, though. That is her.
She was coming
to terms with the fact that she was seeing him as Argylle, and then realizing slowly that she's seeing herself as Argylle. I don't think that breaks the rules.
And it was cool that I was like, "But where's the other guy then?" And that was a cool answer to that.
Then it switches the paradigm, and I didn't really understand the moment where it was because this whole time, because of the conversation, it's like Schrodinger's the you don't show a gun in the first act, and it
Chekhov's
gun on the
mantelpiece.
Thank you.
Like Schrodinger's gun.
Chekhov.
Schrodinger's Chekhov. Like you if you introduce something that early in the movie and point it out so much, it's going to literally be the third act. And when those people were asking her the most pointed questions, I was like,
I didn't see that coming at all.
I had no idea.
Because I was still kind of surprised that it was about an author. I didn't know that going into the movie.
I did call that she was Argylle, and I was literally just kind of waiting for that. Like, okay, when they get to, because I knew Sam Jackson was in the movie. When they get to Sam Jackson, this is what we'll know. The stuff after that, yeah.
Cool. Good for you.
So they get to...
I'm saying, I'm not.
But
That's what I was saying.
I had no idea.
more so than that, the other stuff I didn't know. I didn't know that they were going to do a double pull and like, that they
double.
And
it was like a quintuple pull.
Yeah,
See, I like that. Though. I liked learning that, like, not only is she Argylle, but she was a piece of shit too. Like, she was the bad guy.
She? I don't know. That was another twist back and forth.
And
like
that's where the movie gained me.
Yeah, same.
So the whole first hour of them doing the winky pretense, and it was overly long, and it was like just get to act 2, please.
Yeah.
When they finally did, and then started like rolling out the plot with her parents, which was silly.
Yeah. Catherine Howard was great, as was Bryan Cranston.
With the Keeper of Secrets, which was silly. It was all silly, but it was all fun, and they kept pulling rugs, and that's what it became.
So many rugs. I'm trying to sit down. But I have a couple of questions. They go to the Keeper of Secrets, and they're like, if you can't dress, whatever, you have to dress like the people from the story. Yeah. Why isn't she wearing the Argylle suit? She knows she's Argylle at that time, right? She's trying to be Argylle, and they're like, let's put you in this outfit. And then cut and color your hair before
that was weird.
Right? Of like, why did you take time for that? Just style it.
She was cooler as a redhead. But
yeah, of course she was.
Oh, yes.
Okay, let's talk about the action sequences at the end.
Let's talk about those.
Yeah, there was like 4 in a row.
The smoke dance one,
so the one,
which is completely impractical in a fight, would be very cool in a different movie.
That one I groaned at was actually a lot of them. But like that smoke fight, I groaned. I was like, oh my God, this is awful. But then it keeps going and escalating, and they keep doing more and more like silly dance moves. And then
things that can't be fighting. That are like before, it's kind of like the ballet of a fight.
Yeah.
And then they're doing things which are like, this is tying up your hands while he's shooting. This is not a good way to win a fight.
It was
the scene that got me, the moment that got me was when she picks him up to do the whirly bird.
Yeah.
And there's a close up of her face looking up at his, and then he's looking down at her, and I was like, fuck, all right.
Yeah. So
got me, I'm in.
That scene,
it's so dumb.
It started as like distraction, cool, and they're coordinated, great. The movie it became a musical number.
Yeah,
it did,
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
because I liked seeing it.
This is what I would have liked in a different movie. Yeah. It's like if the whole movie was like this, awesome.
Love the Snow Patrol cover song during the smoke fight scene.
That's right,
Dane.
Dane, good pull, buddy. Yeah, that was actually I like that a lot too.
Snow Patrol, yeah.
Which brings us to our second set piece action scene that I felt didn't make any sense, but had a good laugh in the beginning, which there were a lot of fun parts in this movie, and there were a lot of parts that were like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
But when the oil spills and
the
bad guys like try to walk and they're like, oh my God, they're walking all jerky and slow. That was funny. And then she proceeds to realize that she knows how to ice skate really well. She does everything really well. So what she should do is put knives in her shoes and use that rather than the slippery oil, which you could already use as an ice skating surface. Put knives in her shoes, which I would assume would make it more difficult. That's what you would put in to get through the oil.
It's about the balance of the skate,
It's not ice.
But no, like the sliding takes care of it. It's just she is an expert with having like the balance in the middle of the boot.
She should have dulled the knives first, I think.
Yeah.
Taking the time.
Hold on.
They had time to do a lot of other stuff.
Like dye her hair.
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
to file down
Straight-
these
It's
knives.
like an hours-long process.
Hours, yeah.
About halfway through. First of all, I thought the sequence was hilarious, but about
was.
halfway through, I was like,
I liked it.
Yeah.
I was like,
This is dumb as shit.
I kept remembering the first Transporter movie where they're covered in oil because they did the whole slipping fight.
Yeah.
If you remember that,
I do.
And then I think he put bike pedals on his feet to run through the.
yeah.
So
Do
like
the opposite of what happens here.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
But I kept thinking, like, I was having fun with it, but I kept thinking, like, oil is very messy.
Yeah.
And these dudes slipping and sliding around, it's everywhere. And I do appreciate the old Hollywood style. They put like a little bit of smudge on her face.
You're not getting out of that with
But
no
she's
oil on
literally
you.
there's a part where she's literally like on her knees skidding through it and
Yeah.
it's splashing everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of on her knee.
And
Yeah.
once
It's just like a little bit like there.
in the
I was like, this is
thigh,
kind of
I
funny.
believe,
Yeah.
kills them. And then it was all right, you guys, because the oil settled and she could fire a bunch of guns.
Yeah.
Which she probably could have done to begin with
Yes.
if she's good enough to
Yeah.
do that.
Don't shoot any guns.
Right.
But oh wait, we're gonna shoot all these
Once
guns.
you've knifed them a little,
Yeah, then you can shoot.
Yes.
get them down laying in the oil.
Yeah, yeah.
and
However,
shoot.
it was cool as fuck seeing a figure skater do those crazy
was
turns
cool.
with a fucking assault rifle.
It could have been some ice somewhere. They could
I
have
know.
been in the ice
It was-
parts. Yeah.
You mentioned before, I don't think this is a good movie, and I will use air quotes because it's not really about like, the subjective nature of good or bad. It's just more like I would not fight for this movie or argue with anybody if they didn't have a good time at this movie because I know how stupid it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had fun with the second half of it.
Yeah.
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 I feel that similarly about Daredevil the film. For years I've been
all right.
like, I love that movie.
Yeah.
It's god awful.
The director's
and
cut's pretty
everyone
good.
who hates it, you're right.
That's fine.
You're fine to hate it.
know,
I just I happen to find some enjoyment in
And
it.
now
That's
there are
all.
other movies that you like and you will not take no for an answer.
That's true.
You have been known to follow people, to live in their homes.
Is Daredevil though? Is Daredevil though
That's how I
time?
met my wife.
Is Daredevil though like time and a place for you? Not necessarily the quality of the
Yes.
movie. Whereas
Okay.
that's a little different.
Can I-
That's a little rose colored.
Do you want to hear
which
this
is
tiny
fine.
story?
I think that movie's fine.
tell you.
Came out in the theater, and my ex-wife and I went and saw it. We were like, that was awful, but that was kind of fun. And then all of a sudden, like Evanescence became really popular at that time, and they had 3 songs on that soundtrack. So we would be driving by the movie theater, literally an Evanescence song. That song would come on, "Bring Me to Life" or one of the other songs, and we would be like, should we go see Daredevil? Like, okay, and we'll turn in to go see Daredevil. And that happened like 2 or 3 times.
Oh, wow.
I think I saw that movie 5 times in the theater.
That's a lot of time.
But yeah, it was very much of a time.
Yeah, that's
It's like at my utmost limit of times I've seen.
like
a movie.
pound for
Those are my
pound,
favorite
these two
movies.
things measured. I feel like this is probably a slicker or no, actually this might. I don't know what's better, Daredevil or Argylle. Everybody vote and let us
I
know.
don't know. Maybe
But wait,
Daredevil.
before we go away because we have to go away soon. What the fuck is the point of tying this into Kingsman?
I don't know, man. I hate that.
He probably wants to have them interact.
Like, I don't need to see these characters ever again.
Nice.
I don't need a sequel.
But it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like,
and Samuel L.
so-
Jackson and apparently somebody else are in both of them.
Yeah, I know.
They
He's-
expect me to believe that 2 people who look exactly the same exist in the same universe.
But okay, so like
Balderdash.
the big
Balderdash.
the big like visual twist at the end is that somebody that looks like Henry Cavill
Yeah.
as a
With a mullet.
hillbilly
All right,
or
the
something.
thing at the end. What the hell?
I hated
That makes no
I
sense.
hated that.
This
Dude,
person
I've been
that
waiting the whole time
I have
to sound
only
crazy.
I have
Right at
only-
the end,
but,
anyway, JD, get in on this.
I have only
Say something.
I have I have
look the thing.
I have only seen this person in my imagination,
Yeah.
and there he is right there,
Right.
Yeah.
in a different hair, and it's enough of a shock for me to say.
And he
"What?"
knows. He knows.
And he knows
something's up.
So
He's like,
it's just
I
it's
can
such
answer
a
both.
poorly constructed. It's such a poorly constructed because it's only for. There's twists or things like that or visual cues in a movie where it's for the people in the movie.
Yeah.
That is one that's only for the audience.
Well, no, it's for her.
Yeah.
she has a visible reaction to it. She's like, what?
But it's so fucking weird. And then the Kingsman of it all, like he goes to a bar called the Kingsman, and he says his name is this fake name that she, I guess, didn't actually make up for a series of books.
Make any sense.
It doesn't make any fucking sense with the information that we're given, and it's not a good enough carrot for me to give a shit.
And then
it's
I think
just more of like
there's going to be another movie.
Did they?
I think that was what it meant at the end.
Oh, yeah. I think it was supposed to be, yeah.
But even like,
you know what?
Book 1, the movie.
You know what though? One other thing we discussed the other day was, it cuts back and forth between the characters in the book and the characters in real life. And at the very end there, Elly, what's her name? Rachel?
Oh,
Rachel and the other character Sam Rockwell are kissing in the boat.
Yes.
But then it cuts to...
And they weren't kissing.
And they should have been kissing.
They were going to be kissing.
Where's my Dylan? Which camera? Where's my camera? This one. Apple TV. You're fucking cowards.
Cowards.
Show me John Cena and Henry Cavill making out in that boat for consistency of shot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That would have been cool.
I was disappointed that I was like, that would have been a funny beat, and they didn't do it.
So,
all right.
Anyway, listen, you guys.
Cavill and Cena action.
Yeah, exactly. We all do.
Tongue action.
So, that's a good action. So,
it's one of my favorite actions.
If you haven't got any final thoughts, you've enjoyed spending time with me. So, it's time to go.
Dude,
it's time to go.
Yes.
And I really hope that our audience comes back. What for them will be in 1 week.
Yeah.
We will also experience something in 1 week.
Yeah, let's break the fourth wall. We're going to pre-record for Valentine's Day. It's going to be a very romantic show, so be sure to join us next week where we talk about the first 2 episodes of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, now streaming on Prime Video. And we're going to talk about our favorite, or at least good recommendations of maybe a slightly romantic media that you can
And for
share with your
consistency
loved
of
ones.
shot, we're going to have a 3-way kiss at the end of this show, and it's going to fade into... in 1 week, a 3-way kiss at the beginning of the next
with
show.
John Cena.
Yeah.
He didn't return my calls.
Oh,
I just dialed 10 numbers, and I don't know if it was his phone number.
Yeah.
Let's just fade to black now.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later.
Do do do.